I hope you're having a great day, great afternoon, great night, just a great time in general when you're watching this video. So today I kind of wanted to talk about a camp I used to go to called Miracle Mountain Ranch. I would recommend this camp to a ton of people. It's up in Pennsylvania. I should have looked up where it was before this, but it's about 2 hours up from, I believe. I can't remember if they closed it down because they had 2 fires there where people purposefully lit their barns on fire to try and basically get the camp shut down. And well, they basically succeeded. The camp, to my knowledge, doesn't exist anymore, and if it still does, they're just reopening it because none of the family really wanted to continue it. But when I was doing it, I had heard about it from my dad. My dad did he has his own business, let's just say that, and he used to cut down trees. We were working with this guy that we knew, and I can't remember where we knew him from. I just know we knew him kind of sort of through tree work. He told me and my dad about this camp called Miracle Mountain Ranch. We, kind of looked at it and stuff. I wasn't really all that into it. I mean, I like the vibe of the camp. I like horses, and I'll talk more about it, but I was just really stuck with being at home. I prefer being at home. I didn't really like going out that much. So I finally just went for it. I just was getting to an age where I needed to not be at home that much, during the summer. So my parents started sending me to this camp. I loved going there. I only went there for a week, I think my first time. It was either a week or 2 weeks. I just know it was quite a bit of time because yes, it was 2 weeks my first time because my grandparents came and picked me back up for the weekend, and then I got sent to them. I didn't really like the camp the first time because the basic camp isn't necessarily that fun. I preferred my later years when I started doing horsemanship and rough riders. Horsemanship is, they basically teach you a lot about showmanship and working with the horses. Not so much training the horses, but kind of sort of training a little bit. But rough riders is basically the more advanced version of horsemanship. So you need about 2 years or 2 sessions of horsemanship, or 3 weeks. I can't remember what their criteria was for it, but I know you needed at least a good amount of horsemanship experience documented with them or with someone else for you to be able to do rough riders, because we did days where we rode horses without saddles, bareback riding. I know it's funny, haha, but it is so difficult but so fun because you also feel, kind of more connected to your horse, and that's really why we do it, is because they want you to be able to understand how much weight the horse is carrying and how it's carrying you, and it's just really interesting. I love horsemanship and rough riders, and I love horseback riding. It is so much fun. All the different stances you do in the saddle, all the different tricks you can do. I wanted to do vaulting for a long time, but I didn't feel very athletic. It totally wasn't because I was like 200 pounds, 250. I was a pretty chunky kid, almost 300 pounds, I believe, later in life. But yeah, I wasn't really all that athletic for that activity. I did a lot of the other stuff with the camp, so I think I've done everything at that camp but vaulting, I'm pretty sure. I wasn't a counselor. I was almost a counselor. I was 1 year off from being a counselor, and then I started focusing more on Boy Scouts, which I kind of regret because I probably would be owning my own horse farm by now because I was getting to know a ton of people from this place alone. So my first year, I did just the basic type of camp. It's pretty cool. You get to bunk with a bunch of people. It's separated boys and girls. And in the middle, it starts going out from there, the different age groups. So youngest are in the middle. It's so that way the younger kids can get to the main bathroom in case any of them are scared or don't feel safe. They don't have to go that far from their camp. And then it goes to the next oldest and then the next oldest. I think almost everything at that camp is co-ed except for like your little church meetings or your little youth group meetings where you meet with your bunkmates. I think that's probably the only thing that isn't co-ed. Oh, your activities are not co-ed. Your obstacle course, that's the only thing that isn't co-ed. Everything else is co-ed. So I at least appreciated that. My second year, I came back and did another base year, only because I wasn't really sure if I wanted to do horsemanship yet, and then I finally, after I got more used to the camp, because trust me, my first year I was just crying all over the place. I even had quote-unquote bad experiences because I was very, I'd say sensitive, but only because I had so much shit going on that when I tried some of the activities, like this is where I first tried paintball, because that was one of the activities, and I got shot, and that was it for me. I just was a bitch after that. I've never done paintball after that. It never kind of interested me. I mean, I did airsoft, but that really didn't interest me after a while, because you're really just hitting each other for like what? It's not even fun. Like maybe you get off to getting hit by it, that's totally cool, but not me. My third year I came back, and that's when I did a ton of horsemanship because I wanted to get more into horseback riding. I was in talks by the end of this camp, because I did my own section by myself. I kind of advanced super quickly with horsemanship skills, mainly because it was just something that interested me out of everything in the camp. It was the most detailed thing I could get into by that year. So once I started doing it, I got more into it. When I went for my week of Rough Riders during my fourth and final year I went there, I may have went there 5 years and I'm missing a year somewhere in there, and I needed to do another horsemanship set. But I know when I went back for my Rough Riders, I had my own set and section where I got my own horse. Luckily, I got to keep the same horse, which her name was Ivy, and I had her from my beginning of horsemanship, my third year, all the way until now, because I think that was her last year, if not her second to last year, from being at the camp. Not like anything happened to her. It's just they phase their horses out so they can keep them longer and, you know, keep them alive longer, all the kids and stuff that take care of them, which I really respect. They really treat their horses great, and I loved being there because of that. It was a nice environment. Everyone was always positive and happy to help you. But me working with Ivy, she was a nipper. She nipped all of the other horses, and I got her to finally stop nipping because I talked to her. Like literally as we're riding, I'm like sitting there talking to her. We would just sit there and I worked with her, and I would even take off from other activities to go work with my horse. Mainly because I knew Rough Riders was going to be my last week of working with this horse. So I wasn't going to have a lot of time to basically get her ready for the event, and I wanted to make sure she was. Because other people, I was very kind of scared to do a lot of my horseback riding in front of other people. Trust me, I wish my mom still had the video because I was asking her about it. I threw up at the end of my Rough Rider performance after I got away from everyone because people all staring at me, but I still did it, and apparently according to everyone else I didn't look like I was breathing either, and my face was just completely red, almost purple, from me not breathing. And funny thing is, this is one of the big things that was at the camp also, was during your free time we all went down and played octoball, and I can't remember because as I was putting it on I was like, was it on your non-dominant wrist, because you can't use your it gives you more power when you hit, especially when you put the knot on your wrist. So I was like, I can't remember if you put it on your non-dominant wrist and that was okay because it gave it more power, or if you put it on your dominant wrist to make sure you don't break your wrist. Because we, as the older kids, weren't really allowed to play that much in the small octagon. We had to wait until the days where we got the bigger one, because we would just wreck the dodgeball that we played with, and it would be so unfair. We would have to play double hits and shit, because some of us would be able to hit it and take out like 5 people with just one hit because we were getting so good at it. I remember games where we would just punch the shit out of the ground and be left with bloody knuckles. It was a hoot and a holler. I missed that game. It was so fun, but I've never found another off-the-ball court to play it out. And genuinely, unless you can buy dodgeballs on Amazon, I wouldn't know where to get one. Yeah, they had one of the cool things too. We did 2 big events that were there. Was we had an obstacle course that people worked on, and it was a lot of fun. They had a lot of different activities that were made so you could really build strength with your team and your group, which I appreciated. I think this is where I did my first successful trust ball, but I can't really remember whether or not it was Boy Scouts or this. Now, the craziest one that I ever had to do that took me a long time, it was either my second one where I finally did it or my 3rd year. We had a straight up wall, like the military boot camp shit wall that you have to climb over. And as a team, we all had to get up that wall. I always had to be the first one because not only was I the biggest kid, but I also was the strongest kid because I was doing so much tree work at the time. Like, straight up, I'm pretty sure I used to be able to pick up 120, 150 pounds, just like it was easy because I used to pick up concrete and huge tree trunks. All for bets, too. Because my brothers would bet me I couldn't pick shit up, and then I would, and then I'd also throw it at them, see if they could catch it. Also wanted to mention that there was archery, there was an animal farm, there was arts and crafts. There was definitely, religious nights where we had to remember Bible verses and recite them. I know at the end of the week, it's either Thursday right before you leave on that Friday, or because it's not Friday, Friday is the last day. We have a bonfire where everyone kind of talks and brings up prayers that they want done for each other and what they've learned for that week. And sometimes people say some pretty dark things at it, but we all were very communal and wanted to help each other, and I thought it was pretty interesting. Even at this time, I was pretty agnostic, but I still enjoyed the community of being with all these people and that everyone was pretty supportive. There was just a lot of activities at this place. They had a really big tree that we all loved to use as like home base, kind of. Like, you could sit in this tree and it was in front of a big field, like adult soccer field big is my best description of it. And we used to play ultimate frisbee on there. We used to play a giant game of capture the flag. I won 1 game in my entire life. I get to claim that I won 1 game of capture the flag when we played that. Maybe it was just 1 round. I won the whole game as the last point, so I will take that. And I only won because I was really good at sneaking past people. I straight up snuck past, grabbed it, and then just walked. I remember it because I was laughing so hard as I stepped over the line because I looked at everyone and I dropped it. And everyone was like, where the fuck has it been? I could hear people, because it was so big, I could hear people screaming on the other side about where it went because no one even noticed I grabbed it. It was such a fun game. We used to play capture the flag so seriously. One last thing I will mention that was also really big for the camp that we all loved doing was Manhunt. That was another game that was taken so seriously. We never knew who was it to be the Manhunt out of all the counselors, but we knew if someone wasn't there how screwed we were, because certain camp counselors actually developed reputations for not being able to be found, and if it was them, we just kind of gave up a little bit and used it as like a recess time, genuinely. One year, straight up, one dude was laying in a divot and someone stepped on him, still played it off. He had laid down and covered himself in dirt and pine needles and no one found him. Even the person that stepped on him didn't realize it was a person. It was hilarious. The only thing I can think to mention is I have a couple of photos from Facebook and I'm going to try and put them up. 2 of my camp counselors and one of the people I was with at the time that was in my group group. One of the camp counselors, the guy to my right with the tan cowboy hat, this dude straight up, guess how old he is? I'll give you a second. He is 19. At that age, and how he looks, he is 19. He looks like he is 28, 29. We guessed that. We were nowhere close. The guy to my left, that's my other camp counselor. Guess how old he is? I will give you a second. If you guessed 24, you were right. If you guessed 35, like most of us thought, you would be wrong. We genuinely thought this dude was way older. He even acts way older. It was wild how much Pennsylvania ages you. Trust me, if you meet someone from Pennsylvania, you know they're from Pennsylvania. They just look like they're a little bit older. It just ages the shit out of you. And then this other photo is my very first time at this camp, and I look like I am manic. I look like I do not want to be there, but I'm trying so hard to smile because I've wanted to leave this whole time. It was my first time ever being there, and I did not want to be there anymore. That's kind of it, kind of what I remember about this camp. I don't know if it's still going. If it is, I will make mention of that in my little notes for my edit, but hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you've ever been there or what you think about it. Peace, guys.